first and foremost, the Metro Transit Police and their excellent work. These two detectives were spot on when they did their investigation. They worked very thoroughly and were able to get us the evidence that we needed to ensure a conviction in a jury trial in this matter of the state versus John Prentice Hicks. Today, before the Honorable Judge Cheryl, McCally, John Prentice Hicks, also known as the Red Line Rapist, was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms. This is an appropriate sentence because of the heinousness of this crime. A young woman who is a nurse, who helps to heal people, was herself hurt by this heartless criminal act. This act in broad daylight, just after 10 in the morning on a weekday on the Metro. A system that's used by hundreds of thousands of people daily, that impacts the lives of many. When they hear about a crime like this, it puts shudders of fear into their system. And today, at least, people can rest assured in Montgomery County and throughout the region that Metro Police, that the state's attorney's office and law enforcement across the DMV take it very seriously when an individual takes a knife to a person, holds them essentially hostage in the back of a train, and sexually assaults them, rapes them. This sentence is deserved. 2 life terms will give him plenty of time to think about the crime that he's done and really rest in the minds of potential victims and people who have been assaulted, that they know they can ride on the Metro and that the cameras, the detectives, the police, and others riding the train will help to secure a conviction against such criminals. With that, I'll take a few questions. Anybody? What's that? It's up to the detectives. You willing to answer any questions? They can't take any questions. Right. They'll direct them to Dan Stessel with Metro.
Is the earliest that Hicks will be able to be released from prison 81 years old? He's 41 now.
Well, generally speaking, after 15 years, prisoners are allowed to petition for parole. Since it is consecutive terms, that would be at a minimum of 30 years, but you should ask parole and probation about that directly. It is a consecutive term, so he'd have to serve out one, be eligible for parole, and then serve out the other one. So it's, I'm not certain, to be very blunt.
Talk about the victim in this case. Obviously, it's very hard for her to do what she did to come out.
Yeah, her victim impact statement was not only lengthy, but it was very, very detailed. Her strength and courage is to be commended, to come to court and show the judge just how she was impacted by this crime, mentioning the fact that the scar on her middle finger will remind her for the rest of her life of the trauma that she suffered at the hands of Mr. Hicks. This is a woman who is a nurse who was working overnight, if not for having missed her bus, if not for having fallen asleep in the Metro. You know, she may not have been the victim of this predator, but thanks to the good work of the Metro Transit Police and the security systems in place in Metro, we were able to catch this guy, prosecute him, convict him in front of a jury, and the sentence today certainly reflects the seriousness of this crime.
Yeah, we see her the assistant attorney. She's a military.
Sure. Hi.
So first off, cameras in the courtroom. Can you just walk us through what you were saying to the judge about why you were seeking and getting these 2 consecutive life sentences?
I think we were making the request of Judge McCally to sentence him to 2 consecutive life sentences, not just because of the severe nature of what the victim went through, the acts that were performed on her and that she was forced to perform are beyond horrific. But when we look at the record of the defendant, prior convictions include 2 sexual felonies in Washington, D.C., that it was what was required. As I indicated in court and as we wrote in our state sentencing memorandum, this defendant has forfeited his right to live amongst us in society. For the safety of our community, we were compelled to seek that sentence.
I would ask the same thing. I would ask about working with the victim in this case. How strong she was.
She is incredible. I just gave her a hug, and she's very emotional. She is a rock star. She's a hero because in her trauma, getting off of that train and, in fact, approaching the Metro Transit officers after just having these horrible things happen to her. And Judge McCally referenced it on video. You can see that the defendant points at her and tells her to stay put, stay where she is, and don't tell anyone. And she walked off that train, unable to speak, went and just sat down near the Metro Transit officers. And it took her several moments to even be able to articulate what had happened. There was a station manager there who immediately called 911 because she noticed the victim bleeding from her hand. So it was really that station manager's quick thinking. Ambulances responded, the detectives were called, and really got this rolling.
Getting the sentence here, what does this show others who may want to commit similar crimes? What type of message does this sort of conviction sentence send?
Well, 2 consecutive life terms is the maximum sentence available to this judge, and I think the message leaving this courtroom today is don't commit crime on Metro, don't assault and sexually rape and assault people while riding on Metro. You will get caught, you will be prosecuted, and you will do severe time. All right, thank you, everybody. Do appreciate it. Okay?
Cheryl, I want to do live for a second. I'd like to expound on just what you said. I mean, it's a terrible crime, but it did only happen once because of the availability of video and capability of the investigators in this case. Would anybody care to share some thoughts about that?
Sure. Metro Transit Police did an excellent job on this, and the video was very important in the jury trial. Getting crystal clear video and also using the smart trip technology to track his whereabouts as he made his way through the system. It certainly made for a strong case, and as we move forward through this trial, I think the evidence was tremendous, and in large measure because of the security measures implemented by Metro.
Would you care to offer some thoughts on a broader subject for a lot of people who follow the case and hearing about it for the first time, is anxiety about safety on Metro? What does this case tell us about safety and the ability at least to solve an incident in a case like this?
Well, again, the good detective work, the ability to get in touch with Metro Transit workers on the platform at the station. They did a good job as well, realizing that this particular victim was bleeding from her finger. They saw the track and trail of the blood as well as the tissue, which had the defendant's DNA on it. So the video, the surveillance, and the assistance of workers on the Metro platform all led to our ability to obtain a conviction in this case.
Final thoughts. For a lot of us, we witnessed a lot of courage in the courtroom. Victim impact statements frequently just come on paper because it's a very difficult thing to do.
This particular survivor, she really articulated in a very strong and eloquent way about how this crime has impacted her and has continued to traumatize her on a daily basis. In fact, the judge mentioned that people beyond this person are really impacted because they take different methods to go to work, to go to other places in the community, and they're a little worried about taking Metro. But once again, putting in context, the police did a really good job in this, and we commend them.
I think because she was so precise in that it had her timing of the attack, the detectives, and I would praise Metro Transit Police tremendously in solving this case so quickly, they were able to pinpoint exactly where she was and on the video follow her movements back to the train, to Mr. Hicks leaving the train, to even finding them on the train, a glimpse of them traveling through the station prior to Glenmont. So the fact that the video technicians and Metro Transit Police were just on this immediately. If she had paused, if she had delayed reporting, it would have slowed down this investigation tremendously. But because when they were actually on the phone with dispatch, the video technicians were able to zoom in live and find her and track back from that and find the train number that she was on, where the train had coming from, see the individual and track him exiting the train, exiting the station, and in fact even using his own smart trip card that was registered under his name to his home address. So I believe that that was something that solved this case within hours. We were able to have a photo array put together, and the victim identified him, and he was also clearly seen on the video.
Okay, follow-up question. Also, her willingness to continue to speak about how she feels, like her emotional suffering, to show that the impact of this attack on her. Her willingness to share that, how did that affect the sentencing?
I think it was quite impactful. I think Judge McCally, having read this 12-page victim impact statement where the victim just laid out bare the timeline of her journey to this country, her work, her leaving that night, and the serendipitous circumstances that led to her being on that train. I remember the first time we met with her, she told us that she had just missed a train before when she got into the station that morning, and had she been on that train, but what if? So the judge commented on that in the sentencing, all these factors that could have changed the outcome, but unfortunately didn't. But because of her bravery and because of her strength of character, she was able to direct the police to her attacker, and he was taken into custody that night.
Okay, thank you, folks. Really appreciate it.